Hi everyone, my name is Carrie and welcome to my channel as I deal with my hoarding disorder and trying to get my life back together. I have a lot to share this week, so I am so happy that you're here. First of all, thank you for all the wonderful comments, suggestions, thumbs ups about the fridge. I am still absolutely loving it. Every time I turn around, it's like I'm blinded by this big white thing, to the right of me. And I'm going to insert a picture here of the two handles. I know that some of you had thought that maybe I could just get another fridge handle and flip it. But as you can see, the freezer handle is a lot larger than the fridge handle, and it actually screws in from the top and the bottom of the door. So that's fine. If someday I feel like we're putting the handle back on, I will look into getting that appliance paint or the paint for plastics that a lot of you had mentioned. But every time I go to open the freezer, I go to reach for that handle and it's not there. So I have to retrain my brain to reach to the side, right? This channel is all about retraining our brains, so it'll happen. Also, someone had mentioned something about a hype button that you could push to send the video off to YouTube's algorithm or make it so that more people, you're pushing the video to make it available to more other people to see. It's not on the computer because I looked on my computer and then I looked on my iPhone and it's on the iPhone. So I guess if you pull up YouTube on your iPhone, find the video, and down below, if you scroll over to the right, it says hype button. So if you would all be so kind to push that and hype the video, it will get it out there to more people who may be dealing with this disorder, and it will make the videos available to them. So thank you so much for that. So the exciting news for the week is that I have reconciled with my kids, and I am so happy about that. And I just wanted to share with you, what transpired with that. If you saw my cleaning video, I had mentioned that I've been in a funk all week, and I don't know what's causing it. I've just been unmotivated, just, feeling blah. I don't know if it has to do with the seasons changing or, the fact that it gets dark at 4:30 now, whatever the issue is. But, it was just driving me crazy. So I met up with a friend yesterday, and she made the comment that, because she asked me, she goes, have you been feeling lack of motivation to do anything this week? And I said, yes. And she said, me too. And then she's into astrology. So she started telling me about how Mercury is rising and it's affecting these different zodiac symbols and, blah, blah, blah. Nothing against astrology or people who study astrology, but the only thing I know about stars is that they're in the sky and I can name a few of the constellations. That's it. So she must, I don't know if I rolled my eyes or she just seemed, just picked up on the fact that I wasn't really interested in what she was saying. And she stopped and she goes, don't you believe what I'm telling you? And I looked at her, I go, yes, if that's what you believe and you think that this is what it is, I believe you. But if that's the case, is there any way to tell Mercury to get out of my face? I don't want to deal with it. So anyway, if you guys, I am the most casual, laid back, easygoing person. And when I get into one of these funks or these moods, it agitates me because it's so against my personality. So I just used that to my advantage this week. It got to Thursday and I said, you know what? Enough is enough. Enough is enough. I'm going to talk to my kids. They better talk to me. I had given them enough time, 2.5 months is long enough to, reconcile this, try to process it, whatever you need to do, but now it's to the point where we're going to discuss it. So I started with my son. He hasn't been returning my text messages or my phone calls. And so I texted him, please call me. No response. So I waited about 5 minutes and then I texted him again and said, please call me. I have something important to discuss with you. So a few minutes later, he called me. And, and of course, the uneasiness with the small talk, how you doing, blah, blah, blah. And then finally, I just said, I am so sorry. I need to apologize to you again for what happened Labor Day weekend. And I just need you to know that I finally recognize that I have a problem and I have been seeking therapy. And when he spoke, I could just hear the relief in his voice. I could feel it through the phone. And he just said, Mom, I am so happy. I am so happy to hear you say that. And I am here to support you with whatever you need. And then, of course, the floodgates opened, and it was just so nice to release that and be able to talk to him about it. And what really surprised me was that as we were having this conversation, I told him that, my therapist thinks that this all started when, Grandpa died and I had to clean out his house. And my son agreed. He said, Mom, he goes, I think that's exactly when it started. And I wasn't there. You had to do this on your own, he says. And then he starts going into how trauma can trigger hoarding disorder. And that surprised me because that showed me that he had been researching the topic on his end. And I thought that was so wonderful. Like, wow, he really has been looking into this. And plus I told him, I said, you had left for basic training. He left for basic training in August, and my father passed away in January. So 4.5 months later, and my son was in Guam. My daughter was in Afghanistan. Neither one of them could come home, of course, for the funeral. And that hurt me too, because my kids were close to my father. So I didn't have them here to mourn with me and share my grief. And I think that in a way, I was also grieving for them because they couldn't be here. So, but we had a very nice chat. And now I know that that is not weighing on him, because my new granddaughter is due any day. What's today, the 16th? Her due date's the 18th. So now my son can just focus on what he needs to focus on with his wife and, the arrival of his new daughter. So then I texted my daughter. I knew that she had been on an 8-week deployment. She was leaving right after she got back from Labor Day weekend. So I texted her and asked her, are you back? And she said yes. I asked her to call me. She didn't call me, so I called her. She didn't pick up. And then she called me back. And I started with the same thing. I'm so sorry, but what happened? And I had apologized to them that week, but they were still so caught up with, what had happened that I'm sure that the apologies kind of like fell on deaf ears. And I could tell that my daughter was still my daughter's still processing it. My son, like I said, my son had seen it happening over the years, so he kind of knew that it was getting out of control. Whereas my daughter hadn't been home in 10 years. So this was a complete shock to her, seeing all this at once. And it's not that I haven't seen my daughter in 10 years, because I go to her. I see her twice a year. I will either drive or fly to wherever she is, because number one, I didn't want her coming home and seeing the house like this. And number two, the job that she has in the military, she can't take a lot of time off at once. She only gets small bits and pieces where she can have 3 days off here or 4 days off here. So coming from, as we had our conversation, coming from her was her point of view was completely different from my son's. Now, my son said to me, when he said, Mom, I'm here to help you, I'll do whatever you need to support you, it made, I said to him, well, I've asked you for help in the past and you refused to help me. And his reply to me, like, really opened my eyes. Again, I love the saying or the phrase, you don't know until you're walking in someone else's shoes, right? Well, he was looking at it as he would be doing it for me. And that's what he said. He said, Mom, every time that you've asked me to do something, it was because you just wanted me to do it, because you didn't want to do it. He says, or at least that's what I felt. But now that you're asking for the help and you realize that you have an issue, I have no problem helping you, because you are helping yourself. In the past, it would have just been me doing it for you, but now you are helping yourself and I will help you with it. So that really struck something in my brain. And I was talking about this with my therapist on Friday. But yeah, that was a bitter pill to swallow, because he was right. He was absolutely right. My daughter's viewpoint, on the other hand, whereas she didn't know that any of this had been going on, when she walked into the house, it just, just encompassed her, and she didn't know how to deal with it. She was just like, oh my gosh, what am I looking at? But she also made the comment, and this, again, made me open the floodgates opened when I had my conversation with her. She was so sad because she had gotten a week off. She was looking forward to coming home, spending time with her mother-daughter time, being back in her old room, maybe going through stuff in the attic or going through stuff that, she had still in the house, maybe doing a couple day trips. She had this envision of what her visit with me was going to be like, and it was completely shattered. I mean, you saw her room. You know what her room looks like. So imagine what she felt when she saw her room like that and she couldn't even walk into it. So again, I hadn't even thought about it from her viewpoint. Yes, to the fact that, yes, it was a shock, but the emotions that she was feeling, seeing her room like that, seeing me living like this, and basically just a sense of helplessness, like, oh my gosh. And she even said that. She says, Mom, she goes, it's like I've been gone, living my life with the military, and I had no idea that this was going on. And I get that. I want my kids to live their lives. They shouldn't have to worry about me. And now I've created that worry in them. And I told both of them, look, I'm seeking treatment. I got this under control, hopefully. But anyway, or I'm getting this under control. So my daughter, being the daughter that she is, okay, so this happened on Sunday. Now, my daughter flew in on Thursday night. Friday, we went shopping because my daughter-in-law's baby shower was on Saturday. So we went shopping on Friday, went out to dinner Friday night. My daughter and my son were staying with their cousin. And Saturday was the baby shower. And then Sunday is when everything happened when this all blew up, because they came over to the house. Monday I woke up with a horrible migraine, and my daughter shows up at the house on Monday. And I haven't told you guys this. She showed up at the house on Monday, and she just wanted to be the good daughter and help me however she could. So she was there rolling up her sleeves. Mom, I'm here to help you. I'm going to help clean. Just tell me what to do. And I'm dealing with a migraine. I mean, a full-blown migraine with the nausea, the sensitivity, the light, the whole works. And I just told her, I said, you have to leave. You can't help me. Mom, just go to bed. Go to bed. Tell me where you want me to start, and I'll do it. And I'm having this argument with her. My head is exploding. And the argument between us is getting more heated because she just wants to help me. And I can't just allow her to delve in and start cleaning. My daughter is the type that she just throws things away. I can remember whenever she would clean her room, and she would be bringing the trash bag out, and she would leave it, and I would go through the trash that came out of her room, and I'd be like, oh, why are you throwing this away? So-and-so gave this to you. And she'd be like, I don't need it. I don't want it. Why are you going through my trash, Mom? Because that's what I do, right? But my daughter she's not a minimalist, but like I said, she has no frills in her house because she's always moving every 2 years. And the less stuff she has, the better. So I know that I could not have trusted her to clean my house and go through stuff without me being there. But she doesn't understand that. So anyway, we just kept arguing until it got to the point where I just told her, leave, get out of the house. You have to leave now. And that's how it was left between my daughter and myself. Even though I did call her, she didn't pick up. I left her a voice message. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry that happened. I didn't mean for that to happen. But anyway, and then they both left the following day. So my daughter is trying to be supportive. I think that she still doesn't understand completely what has happened here and what's going on with me. Both kids even said to me, Mom, you weren't like this when we were growing up. And I wasn't. So, but I told her, I said, look, call your brother, talk to your brother. I think he has a better understanding, of what's going on. And you'll be able to understand it better from his viewpoint because he's your brother, and I'm trying to explain it as your mother and the person that has the problem. But I've been sending her the pictures. I sent her the before and after pictures of the fridge. I've been sending her pictures of the flooring as I've been working on that. So, and she is very, her responses are positive. She's been very supportive. But I think it's just going to take a little bit longer for her to accept what is going on with me. And that's perfectly fine. We've cleared the air. There's no animosity. There's no anger. I'm sure there's still, just frustration and not understanding on her part. But we'll get there. We'll get there. So that was my good news for this week. So therapy for this week. I don't know what my therapist originally had planned for this session, but we mostly ended up talking about my reconciliation with the kids and how that made me feel. Also being able to see things from their point of view. And that was such an eye-opener to hear it from them. I was sitting here thinking that I knew what they were thinking or imagining what they were going through, but didn't really know until they actually told me. And vice versa with them. They didn't know until I actually had the discussion with them. So the fact that my son had obviously done some research on the subject matter was very clear to me, and it showed me that he cared about what was going on with me and the hoarding. He told me about his frustration and the fact that I couldn't come to grips that I had a problem. So it wasn't that he didn't want to help me. He wanted me to realize that I needed help on a deeper level. It's like when you are helping your child with their homework and you tell them that you will help them, but that you're not going to do the work for them, that they still need to put in the time and effort. That's where he was coming from. So I can understand that now, right? I think my daughter still doesn't quite grasp everything or understand it. Like I said, to her, not using something, it leaves the house, plain and simple. She doesn't understand the emotional attachment that I have to things or the hold that it has over me. But I think as I continue with the process and she sees the progress that I'm making, that it will help her. Communication is the key, and I just need to keep explaining things to her as we go along. My therapist also said that if she wants to do a Zoom session with her, that she can also help explain it and walk my daughter through it, and explain more about the disorder. It's a lot to take in, and when my daughter explained to me what she was feeling when she saw the house, it made perfect sense. She didn't understand and felt hopeless as to what she could do to help me, and in her mind, she just thought that by helping me clean would make things better. So I know that she doesn't fully understand things yet, but at least now, like I said, the lines of communication are open and she is there to support me. Communication is so key, and I know that everybody knows that. And some of you have told me that hoarding has really created a wedge in your family, that you have family members who are hoarders and that you haven't been in the house in years, or that your kids haven't spoken to you in years because of your hoarding. I guess my recommendation to you would be, don't give up. Don't give up. I know that's easier said than done because the other person on the other end has to be receptive to wanting to reconcile. Don't be afraid to make the first move. Chances are that if it's your kids that are estranged from you, you need to be the one to make the first move anyway, because they're blaming you. They're saying this is your fault, and they're not coming around because you can't get your life in order and you can't deal with it, and they don't want to be part of it because you haven't sought help. You know, putting myself in the place of my son when he said that to me. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. I guess you have to ask yourself, what's more important, my kids or my stuff? And maybe you're not at that point where you can answer that question. I was at the point where with my kids where, again, I was just in the mood. I was just in the mood to deal with it, believe me. But I was at the point where it was like, okay, I've given you 2.5 months. Let's get this done. And if my son had not answered that second text, my next text to him would have been, all right, I'll see you in X amount of hours because I'm jumping on a plane right now. And both my kids know that I would do that. And they would want to avoid that at all costs, because that means, oh, mom means business. You know what? We better answer her call. We better answer her text message. It gets to a certain point where, okay, I will give you your space. I will give you time to process, give you time to comprehend, no matter what it is. I mean, I've always done that with them growing up. I'll give you time to deal with this on your own, to come to terms with it, come up with a solution or an action plan. But if you don't, then I'm going to step in. And it was to that point where, okay, it's 2.5 months. You're still not talking to me. Now I'm going to step in and, you better talk to me. I know that it's not easy, that was just my solution. Everybody's situation is different, and I get that, but don't give up. So many of you have said how brave you think I am for putting my first video out there and putting my disorder out there, admitting that I have a problem for the whole world to see. I challenge you to be brave, because I know it isn't easy. It will be hard, especially if you've been estranged for a long time. But you can do it. I have faith that you can do it. And maybe you aren't ready to make the attempt, and that's fine too. But if you are, someone needs to step up to the plate and be the first one to extend the olive branch. Try to put all differences aside. It doesn't matter who was right or wrong. You have to allow that to be water under the bridge at this point. The important thing is to get the lines of communication open, and at least it will show your loved one that you care. Even if you don't think that you have a problem, obviously that other person does. And if that is what caused the rift, you need to find a way to reconcile, because believe me, the deterioration of your relationship is weighing on your mind and on your heart. So you need to be open to suggestions. Look at me with the fridge magnets, and just give it one day at a time. At least give it a shot. If the person doesn't return your text message or phone call or email, however you're trying to communicate with them, just keep trying if it is important to you. My suggestion would be to try sending a Christmas card if you celebrate Christmas, or a handwritten letter. Give it a personal touch, because I really think that on the other end, that person, number one, will be appreciative, or hopefully will be appreciative of the fact that you took the time to sit down and write a letter. And in that letter, you can include something like maybe a Bible verse, or maybe an old picture, maybe a picture, a photocopy of a card that they gave you when they were little. And you can say this, oh, do you remember when you gave me this when you were 6 years old for Mother's Day? And how you made this in school, or whatever. Use that as the starting point to lead into the letter. And I still have this. It still means so much to me. You mean so much to me. It saddens me that we haven't spoken in so long, but now I am taking steps to bridge that gap. Can we please talk? And then maybe you need to tell that person, I have come to the point where I recognize I have a problem. I am dealing with my problem. I am seeking therapy. I am doing what I need to do. I've gotten help, people coming here to the house to help me, whatever it is. And then you need to explain to them how you realize that your hoarding has affected the relationship. That was all part of the first homework assignment, right? What is your definition of hoarding, and how has it affected the relationships in your life? Now take what you wrote for that homework assignment and put that into writing to the loved one that you're writing to. I can only go by what I was feeling when I was distanced, when this rift was created with myself and my kids. So I can only imagine that you're going through the same thing between either you and your kids or you and your parents. But somebody needs to take the first step. So if that person can be you, then do it. Absolutely do it. At least you've tried. And then if it doesn't work the first time, keep trying. Keep trying, because that will show the person on the other end that you are serious, that you're not just blowing smoke, that you are serious in trying to get this rectified, you are serious with trying to cope with your problem, and that you're serious about wanting them to be involved back in your life and that you need their support. The important thing is that if you are ready to at least try to make the attempt, and if you aren't ready now, keep thinking about it and the day will come when you are ready. Believe me, having one less thing on your shoulders lifts that weight off and allows you to move forward and makes it easier to move forward. And we are all here to support you. So just think about it. I hope that some of you are able to do this. Again, I'm not in your situations. I'm not walking in your shoes, but I can only tell you how good it feels coming from my end once that situation is rectified. So good luck. I wish all of you the best in trying to do this. Okay, homework for this week. Let's see. Week 6 homework, which was this past week, was to choose a cabinet or drawer to clean out and organize the stuff within it. As it just so happens, I was planning to do the cabinet next to the fridge, so that will be on the next cleaning video. For this week's homework assignment, she actually wanted me to start with the bag room, but I told her I didn't want to do that. Not that I'm not ready to start the bag room. I don't think I have any emotional attachment to any items in that room, but I just wanted to continue with rooms that are livable or that are in my living space, not down in the basement. So I'm going to start on my son's old room so I can get that cleaned up, and then I will be able to move into there temporarily while I work on cleaning and organizing my bedroom. So she understood that reasoning and she's in favor of it. I am still doing the 3 planks a day for the flooring and have reached the halfway point where I need to move the love seat to the other side of the room. Progress, yay, it's getting there. And I will show pictures of that room too in the next video. Let's see, for those of you who are also doing the homework assignments, how did weeks 1 through 5 go for you? Did you guys get journals? Did you get a notebook? Did you write your essay about what hoarding is to you and how it has affected your life? Did you do a walkthrough of your house and take inventory and write a description of the items that are in each room and why you feel you have an attachment to those items? I think that if you start by doing those 2 assignments and then continue to write in your journal on a daily basis or maybe every other day about your accomplishments and your failures, you'll be able to look back on your journey, write about your feelings, your emotions, whether Mercury was playing havoc in your house this week, or your mood, whatever you want to write about. Putting things down on paper can be cathartic, and also keeping a list of things that leave your house will be helpful. I forgot to mention that in last week's video, but please do that, because as time goes by, whenever you feel that you aren't making progress, or you've hit a roadblock, or you're just feeling down or depressed, you'll be able to look back and see the progress that you have made and what a difference you have made. Also, so many people have recommended taking the before and after pictures, and I am highly in favor of doing that. My therapist has suggested that also. So remember to do that, because you'll be able to look back on those and see, wow, this is what it was and this is what it became once I cleaned it. I know that I'm a visual person, And this certainly helps me when I'm going through this. So here is my list of things that left the house this week. Okay, church, 2 packages of paper towels. You're gonna laugh at this next one. 4 garbage bags of Folgers plastic coffee containers. And why was I saving those? I was saving those because we use them for the craft fair, the Christmas fair, to put cookies in. We will sell whole containers of cookies for those who want to buy a whole container. Let's see, what else? 20 men's deodorants, 10 women's deodorants, 20 tubes of toothpaste. This all came from my shopping hoard in the basement. This was for the food pantry. They had these special requests this week in the church bulletin, and of course I had plenty of them. And 3 brownie mixes, and no, those were not down in my basement. I bought those specifically this week for church because they needed brownie mixes for the Thanksgiving baskets that are, given out to the community. My mother's house, 1 package of paper towels and a box of Tylenol. My aunt and uncle, I stopped by their house yesterday and I dropped off a package of paper towels, 5 bottles of Listerine, which is my uncle's favorite mouthwash, and 2 shave gels. Those are always on his list of things that he likes me to coupon for. So that's it. I hope you are all making progress on your journeys. Thank you for coming along on my journey this week. I hope you have a good week coming up. Take care, and I'll see you with the next one. Bye.